Welcome to the Theological Family Ministry Podcast, a podcast for parents as well as children and youth ministry leaders. We are dedicated to showing how theological study and biblical application relate to the discipleship of children and youth. As always, we're hosted by Pastor Ben Tony, the pastor of family and children's discipleship at Curtis Baptist Church in Augusta, Georgia, and Tony Trusoni, the family and student pastor at Faith Family Church in Finksburg, Maryland.
All right, Tony, it's good to be back with you. How are you, my friend?
I've been doing really well in the last maybe 3 minutes since we recorded the last podcast.
That's good, man. I'm glad nothing happened in that time frame. So have you been paying attention to into the baseball season and this kind of stuff?
I have. I kind of benched my Orioles team, much like they should bench all their players. And I'll be back to being an Orioles fan next year, but I've been following the Brewers, and they've been having quite the playoff run, trying to make the playoffs in the last couple weeks, and so that's been exciting.
Maybe the Orioles at the end of this year, they can just get together, kind of celebrate the year, go to Chuck E. Cheese's, and have some good fun. Have you been to Chuck E. Cheese's lately yourself? I mean, you have little kids.
I thankfully have not been to Chuck E. Cheese's in many years.
I have not either. I cannot remember the last time I've been in a Chuck E. Cheese's. I'm not even sure if we have one here in Augusta. I think that we do, but I'm just not sure. Tony, how good is your memory?
My memory's pretty good, and I will say, based on my memory of Chuck E. Cheese, I think if I got invited to a birthday party from one of my kids at Chuck E. Cheese's, I think I'd be singing songs of lament from the Psalms.
I'd say you probably have a pretty good memory. Well, do you remember that a little over 2 years ago, we talked about the expectations of fun in ministry settings and that kind of thing, asking the question, is your church a spiritualized Chuck E. Cheese's? Do you remember that?
I do remember that, and it's hard to believe, speaking of memory, we've been doing this for like 3 years now.
Yeah, I know. I was realizing that just recently preparing. So today, though, we want to revisit that question, looking at it from a different angle. And maybe not completely throwing fun under the bus. And I don't think that we did that earlier. That shouldn't be your primary goal when you're thinking about how to plan your ministry. But we want to think through the topic of fun biblically and theologically as it relates to our families, but also to age-graded ministry in the church. So what is fun at its core?
So I looked up some different definitions from online and kind of mixed them together. I think it's having a pleasant, happy, and exciting experience. In a lot of ways, I think the best way to kind of illustrate what fun is riding down a water slide, because at its core, going down a water slide is fun incarnate.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because we rode water slides when we got together, what's been like a month or so ago, and we were talking about the topic of fun and how when you're an adult, you try to act like things that are fun are not fun. And so you shared with me that you were riding the water slides like the night before, and these adults are giving you dirty looks. And you're like, I don't care, it's fun. You can sit over there if you want.
It was delightful, and they would have been delighted if they had done it too.
And I had a fun time with the water slides myself. I like the definition that you gave. I actually looked up dictionary.com, and I liked the way they put it, that it provides mirth. Something that's fun provides mirth. And I looked up mirth, and it's gaiety or jollity. So I like those even better. So we're going to have some gaiety and jollity, hopefully, today in our conversation.
Isn't it fun when you need a dictionary to define the definition of a dictionary, and then you need another dictionary to define the definition of that one?
It is fun. And, I had heard the word mirth and knew that it went with pleasantness, but I wasn't exactly sure of the definition, so looked it up. So what do you personally consider fun besides water slides? Or how do you try to have fun personally? Or do you? You're just like,
some people I think have perceived me as being kind of stoic, and I don't think I'm as stoic as some people might perceive me to be. I do enjoy something that we talked about an hour ago, but as far as listeners are concerned, we talked about 2 weeks ago exactly, and that's playing video games. I do enjoy playing video games from time to time. I also enjoy swimming. I think it's fun to go swimming, especially with the family. And with the family, it's fun to go to wrestle with the kiddos, to play around with them, horse around with them on the floor or whatever. And, one thing that's coming up not long after this podcast is posted up is Halloween. And we have a lot of fun with all that goes together with Halloween.
It's funny. Last night we were on the floor in one of our kids' bedrooms tickling and wrestling and that kind of thing. And it was fun until the biggest and strongest of the kids sort of put me down for the count with a knee. But, as they get older, they're able to hit with more force.
They are.
I enjoy having fun, and I think people might view me even more stoic than you. I don't know. I've never done a poll or something, but I do enjoy having fun and mirth and gaiety and jollity and such things. I like exercising and learning about it. I like watching and playing sports, playing with my family, that kind of thing. Should fun be a part of our family life? Or is it sort of, it doesn't really matter?
I think it definitely should be. We were meant to enjoy this life together with our families. Again, this goes back to something you talked about in our last podcast. And even if that's not what we live for, we don't live for fun. We don't live to enjoy it up in this life, but I think it's good and right. We were meant to enjoy life together. I think also, and we should probably have fun together, in addition to the fun that our kids have with their friends. There should be times where our kids have fun together with us, and that kind of family time, rather than them just seeing fun as what they do with their friends when they hang out with their friends. But we shouldn't only have fun. But I think at the same time, your kids do really well to see you having fun. And I think it really helps you be more relatable and seen less as stoic by your own children when you have fun with them.
Yeah, I really like what you said there about them associating with you and not just what they do when they go off with their friends. And I think because of some of my personal tendencies and then some influences I had in college from a couple of different angles, I can kind of have some ascetic tendencies. Now, I don't go off and, stand on a pole in the desert and some of the stuff that people did. But I can just sort of think, that's the way to go. And I think there is a time and a place for, Christians are called to sacrifice, but we're not only called to sacrifice all the time. We talked about on that last episode of the video games of enjoyment, enjoying God, receiving his gifts with thanksgiving. And he's given us these gifts to enjoy. And so fun can be a part of that, definitely. So what benefits, you kind of named some of them, but anything else that comes to mind, what benefits that might come from our family having fun together?
Like I said, it's definitely bonding. But I think also fun can be worshipful, and that we can have a worshipful mentality. And I think even we can carry in that fun into study the Bible and even worshiping in a song. It's right and good to have fun in that, just so long as that's not the end unto it.
Yeah, I think so. You're sharing positive emotions with each other, remembering those. It can also help kids develop and learn skills. Kids who don't play enough and just have kind of unstructured fun can demonstrate a lot of bad traits. It's been found, like aggression, unhappiness, this kind of things. And so it's important for them to do that. And what better way, to do it with mom and dad. And interestingly, going on with the video game conversation, some suggest that the kind of fun that you would have over a digital screen is different than just running around playing some sort of unstructured activity. And so we want to be now what we define as fun and all those different ways. I'm not trying to make a super hard point on that, but I did find it interesting, and if those who listen to the previous episode might find it of interest. But you think, people that are involved in organizational leadership and that kind of thing, these leadership retreats and activities, team building activities, have become very popular because people have seen the benefit of them. People are working together for something. They're rather than just their work, and so they're building connections that the work itself doesn't, but then they can carry it into the work. And so I think there's a lot of benefit there. Is there any connection between a family working together to have fun and then working to have fun in a ministry setting? Do you see kind of overlap?
So I think yes in ways, because we are spiritually family as a church, as a body of Christ together. We are called to be that kind of spiritual. That terminology is over and over again used. So I think parallels in that do go accordingly. But I think we also do relate as more than just fellow club members. I think people that are part of the kind of club, part of a club together, just recognize and join together based upon some kind of shared common interest. I think it can be almost a staleness to that kind of relationship. But we're to be more than that. We're to be people that really get plugged into each other's lives, have a good time together, but also grow in Jesus together, which sometimes involves having a good time, sometimes involves, enjoying something together, or, playing a pickup football game together.
Yeah, you're right that we are the family of God. We've been brought into his very family, but there are two different settings. I think we have to remember the purpose of the two institutions in those settings, what the family is about. Family is for teaching. We talk all about that every episode, how the family is the center point of discipling the children that God's entrusted to us. But the church plays a role as well. And so a family's got a number of different things going on, as opposed to when the church is gathered. There are a number of different things going, but it's a little bit more focused. And so, here's an example. Like at my house, we might spend an evening eating ice cream and watching a movie. Now, this is just me. Plenty of other people disagree. Maybe you disagree. But I'm probably not going to plan that during my normal ministry programming time. We may do it as some special event at some point.
No, I agree with that.
But we get much less time to teach the Bible. Some of those kids we see once or twice a month.
Yep.
And so I want to capitalize while making it engaging. It's not just, turn in your, copy of Summa Theologica to page 1095, and we'll pick up at the next paragraph. That's not real helpful. Really, at any stage, I do want to take advantage of those opportunities. But I'm not saying I'd never do it. Maybe I would sometime. But I think it's just they are doing two different things.
Yeah.
So should it have a part in age-graded ministry? Or is that just sort of American commercialism? And
I think absolutely it should. But one thing I do want to add to our discussion about the church having fun is we do always need to remember that one day there's going to be a big yard where we can play football. Inside joke. But I think that we definitely should have fun in age-graded ministry. I don't think that that means we should not by any stretch go out of our way to be unfun. We shouldn't be the teacher from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, that seemed to just see fun as evil, that went out of his way to make sure that if there's any fun in something, I'm going to take it away and remove it. But I think that being said, it shouldn't be the main thing, but fun can relax people. And I think it can also calm people's minds to learn about God, to learn the truth from God's Word after a long day at school, for example. So, we actually, in our youth ministry, we start with games. And one of the reasons why we start with games, honestly, is because, if you're late, we'd rather you be late for games than late for the Bible
right.
study. But also because, I think it helps the kids that have had a long day and that are exhausted to kind of calm their minds down, calm their bodies down even, so that they can be prepared to learn, so that they're not, antsy like they've been from being in school all day,
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think it was Spurgeon who said that he liked to open up with humor, little gaiety and jollity, to get his hearers to open up like a clam or something, and then he could stick a fork in there and pierce them with the truth. I think there's something to it. Kids and youth, and really even adults. we naturally want to have fun to some extent. It's just it can't be the primary goal. I think in that episode about Chuck E. Cheese that we did a couple years back, I quoted from some other podcast I had heard where they said, when an adult walks out of some sort of ministry thing, is the first question we ask them, well, did you have fun?